the southeast and the southwestern part of Nigeria, not from the north, for what I know. But what we need to tell ourselves the reality of this is that there are people who believe and strongly believe in a united Nigeria, and there are people who believe in secession. So for those who believe in a united Nigeria, for those of us who believe that this country should continue to remain one, let us show them that they have made the best choice. Because we are in a battle of trying to win souls. For the man who comes from southeastern part of Nigeria, who believes in a united Nigeria, we have a duty to show him he has made the right choice. By that, you defeat the one who believes in secession. A national flag does not hold a nation. The national anthem doesn't hold a nation, nor the national flag. It is about entrenching justice, fairness, and equity. It is what is going to sustain a country. Irrespective of how much we try to hold this country together, it is important that leaders demonstrate fairness, justice, and equity in the way they conduct the affairs of the state. I don't think I want to be a bit personal, but I have a little issues here. If you are accusing a president of a country of being anti-Southeast, the response should not be that you are a dot in a cycle. He has points to give. I, the president, twice, I nominated Igbos from the Southeast as my vice presidential candidate. And I, the president, is the first in the history of Nigeria to formally recognize the former Biafran war fighters. And I paid them their pensions as I went to. No president has ever done it. And I, as a politician, I have developed a strong relationship, cordial one with solidarity with the late Ikemba of the Navy. So who can be more Southeasterner than I am? You have points to give. You don't necessarily have to say dot in a cycle. You have points you can use that cannot be challenged by anyone. So, the agitation for restructuring is something that cannot be repressed by anyone. Secession shall be defeated not just by force of arms, but by embracing those, the majority, the silent ones who have not taken arms, and showing them that they have made the right choice and are at the right place. I am not a supporter of a divided Nigeria, but I also believe that this country can survive and thrive better. The Igbos in the north have been there even before our fathers were born. And since after the Civil War, the Igbos of the 40s and the 50s is not the Igbos of the 2000s. The Igbos in this century has grown his territory beyond the 5 states in the southeast. So how can an Igbo in the 21st century that is a Japanese of Nigeria, the Igbos that dominate the market in Sokoto, in Kano, in Maiduguri, in Taraba, his territory has gone beyond the 5 states. So how do you withdraw him back to such an achievement? The China of 1979 is not the China of 2001. China is in all parts of the world. So the Igbo of 21st century is like the Chinese of the 21st century. You wake up, as Kaduna is where I come from and where I was born, even my parents were born. You wake up, you go to the market, whatever you want to buy, whatever you want to do. We grow up with people whom we know. How do you now pull back from over half a century of achievements? We have always prayed that peace should return to the southeast, not to the northeast. The southeast is a market and a factory of Nigeria. People patronize Onitsha and other markets. Your products are in all parts of West Africa. How do you become the king of a continent to withdraw to be the chief of a small territory? You have gone beyond that. So to us, the achievement that has been made since the Civil War should be consolidated. But we need leadership and leaders who can understand the problems of this country and stand very much to address the issues that have led us to where we are today. On the final note, I believe that this country has a potential for greatness. I know democracy is a game of numbers, but it is important that all parts of the country should be considered in any political equation to ensure that those dark areas that exist are now within the beam of light. We have all sorts of problems in Niger Delta before. Oil pipelines are blowing in and everything. Jonathan became president. And now the people of Niger Delta are able to see that we have had somebody from our own end who was also being able to lead the country. And that brought the issue to the various minimum. Please, for those areas who have not been able to produce the president of Nigeria, let us look at the possibility of such things. I have said it, words have meaning. They can bring peace and they can also bring war. In Kaduna, in Zamfara, in Sokoto and in Kebbi, we are facing the problems of banditry. Our people are being killed and kidnapped every day. So if there is an attack in Ondo or in Ebonyi by the Fulani herdsmen, as it has been said, it is done by those who did it. It's not that the consent of the whole northern part of Nigeria decided that there should be attack in. We too are facing more problems than the one that is faced in the southern part of Nigeria. There is no consent. Nobody was consented to pick arms and kill any ethnic group. In Kaduna, where I come from today, you can't move 2 kilometers outside the city in peace. So if the activities of herdsmen in southern part of Nigeria was done with the approval of the North, then we should have been living in peace. But we're not. So, on behalf of my colleagues that I've come here with, a discussion like this should not simply end up in a platform like this. Resolutions and contributions that are made in this platform should also be synchronized and be transmitted to places where it will add to or add value to the national debate and our search for a united, peaceful, and prosperous Nigeria. Nigerian leaders have a duty at this cross period of time. The generations that have experienced war have now either, most of them have died, or they have grown old. Then it is incumbent on those with the experience to talk in a language that is courteous, respectful, and enlightening. Not in a language they understand. In a language that is enlightening, that is courteous, and that is also educative. To know the consequences of crisis. Some people don't know how to articulate, even if they have the points at hand. And sometimes it leads us to where we are. On the last note, I know very well that in the next 1 year plus, Nigeria will be headed to polls. But we must have a country first before we talk of an election. Where people are being slaughtered and kidnapped, where insecurity reigns in a country, I think the survival of the country should be of paramount importance and not the ambitions of individuals. We can achieve greatly. We are bound to live together and benefit from each other. The northern part of the country we have what the South don't have. The South have what we don't have. And this marriage is divine. If we have problem about this country, let us challenge the government and change the government and bring the one that will make this country better and not break the country. To vote them are their enemies. And as such, they will be excluded. But these are the same people who use their left hand to swear by the Bible and the Quran that they are going to be just to everyone. So there's a difference between an elected leader and a conqueror. A conqueror first identifies himself with his ethnic group, religious identity, and loyalties. And for him, the thought is that they deserve the booty of the war. And if you exclude some people from development for the fact that they have not voted for you, you have also set yourself for another war. You can win an election by a majority vote, but you can't have peace while sitting on that throne, because of your exclusion of those whom you felt you are conquered. So when you have a nation like that, you're bound to have problems. We have had a series of leaders in Nigeria from 1999 to date. We have had them. But unfortunately, there are some leaders in this country and in our history that you can hardly see their own people being proud of them as tribalists. Let's go back into history. Pick Nnamdi Azikiwe. From his name, you know where he comes from. But why is it that all Nigerians, irrespective of any corner of Nigeria you come from, you believe that that is a nationalist and a hero? Why? He is the only person whom you can name Abuja Airport after him without any quarrel coming from any part of the country. But the sacrifice also you make, once you are accepted as a true national leader, you will also not be a hero to members of your ethnic group. Ethnic groups celebrate ethnic champions. So, and that is why during the struggle for independence and post-independence Nigeria, while other leaders are talking about Nigeria and also their own part of the country, Zik talks about Nigeria and the whole of Africa. And he is not. You hardly see today any house in this country where you will go in and see a portrait of Azikiwe, because he refused to be the champion of any ethnic group. So why can't we all be like Nnamdi Azikiwe? Why? Having said that, we must all accept that people were agitating for restructuring continuously and ceaselessly because they felt that the structure of the Nigerian state is faulty. And nobody should deceive himself that the present political establishment and political order is interested in restructuring. The president has made it categorically clear. He has categorized advocates of restructuring and secessionists all in the same boat. So whether his party subscribes to restructuring or not, he is not for it. So any person who is still expecting restructuring to come within the lifespan of this administration, I think it's just simply wasting his time. It's very clear. It has been, the position is that they said restructuring should go to the National Assembly. And I believe I am competent enough to know that there is a misconception about constitutional amendment and restructuring. Secession. I think it's important that we know. Secessionist threats is a series of challenges, from civil war to military dictatorship to civil crisis and day-to-day problems we face politically, economically, and security-wise. The challenge we face as a country today could have been better addressed if we have had a succession of leaders that are patriotic, committed, and dedicated as nationalists and patriots in the spirit of our founding fathers. The agitation for restructuring was informed by a certain variables, realities, and fundamentals. And Nigeria as a state has been unable to realize and explore its potential for its own greatness. And the need to reconfigure or reset Nigeria is as important as the survival and the future of the country itself. If you ask 10 people about in Nigeria what is restructuring, you are bound to get 10 different answers. We have still not been able to articulate a common consensus of what we need, what we deserve, and what is practicable in our quest for restructuring. People have proffered different ideas. To some, restructuring is resource control. To some, restructuring is going back to 1963 Constitution. And for some, restructuring, in their own way, is self-determination. But there is general belief that Nigeria faces a structural problem. When a building faces a structural problem, then it means there is a problem with the buildings and also with the columns, which in fact those structures, those elements of those buildings are the pillars the building stands on. So if there is a structural problems with those things, you can't live within this hall. So to restructure Nigeria is to reconfigure it in such a way that it will work. Diversity is supposed to be a source of wealth and strength for us as a nation. But we are struggling. Over 100 years since amalgamation, we still find it difficult to identify ourselves as Nigerians. But we're not alone. It's the same thing in Ethiopia.